Today, we are going to read one of my very favorite books. It is called Click, Clack, Moo, Cows That Type. And we're going to be reading this book a lot this week. I'll say. Richard, you need to turn it up. We're going to be reading this book a lot because we are going to read it. Because we are going to That's two warnings. Richard, that's also two warnings. We are going to be reading it a lot this week because we're going to read it for a lot of different things. We're going to read it in a lot of different ways. And we're going to look at a lot of different parts of it. The first thing that we're going to look at today is characters. Can someone with a quiet raised hand tell me what a character is? Christiana, what is a character? I'm sorry, I called on Christiana, so it's confusing to me when other people are talking. Right. Perfect. A person or animal who is in a story.
Oh.
Can I have hands down? Jasmine, turn around, please. Today, when we are reading our story, we're gonna be looking for different characters. And I don't know if you can tell from the cover of this book, but there are some animal characters in this book.
Oh, cow.
So we're going to be looking at the different characters, and we're going to be talking about the different characters in this book. To do that, I know we've talked about characters a little bit before, but we're going to go even more in depth, Helen and Ashley, today. To do that, we're going to use two sentence starters. Can everyone see these sentence starters? Juan Carlos, can you see? No? I'll hold this one. So, blank is a character in this story. Can we say that together? Blank is a character in this story. Blank is not a character, but the blank space is where you would put the character's name. Yeah, so if a person had the name Chocolate, you could say Chocolate is a character in this story. This is one of our sentence frames that we're going to use. Helen, can you sit on your bottom, please? This sentence frame we are going to use to talk about our opinions about different characters. Carlos.
Wow.
This character is interesting because, and then you're going to say why you think that character is interesting, Garetsi. Can we say it all together? This character is interesting because, let's try it one more time. This character is interesting because, Graciela, now is not the time to do that. Can you please go put those on your table?
Or in your backpack or your milk.
Or you can hand them to me, your choice. Okay, now is not the time to do that. You can do it after my lesson. All right. So, as we read our story, we are going to be looking for the different characters in this story. Carlos, that's your last warning before your name gets moved down. We are going to be looking at the different characters in this story. When you see a new character, I want you to give me a silent signal that says, I notice a new character. And then we'll stop and talk about that new character. Click, Clack, Moo, Cows That Type. Jose, by Doreen Cronin. Pictures by Betsy Lewin. I need voices off. I need bodies facing this way, Jose. Jose. Turn your body this way. Thank you. Farmer Brown has a problem. His cows like to type. All day long, he hears click, clack, moo. Click, clack, moo. Click, clack, moo. Brian. Does anyone notice a character on this page? Can someone give me a silent hand? Fernando? Who's the character that we meet on this page? What's his name? Farmer Brown.
I know it.
So our first character is Farmer Brown. We're going to put him on our list when we're finished.
He was copying me.
At first, he couldn't believe his ears. Cows that type? Impossible. Click, clack, moo. Click, clack, moo. Clickety, clack, moo. Have we met any new characters yet? Kai, see what you just said again. What do you guys think? The cows are characters?
You don't see them in the picture. What?
They're still there. Then, he couldn't believe his eyes. Dear Farmer Brown, the barn is very cold at night. We'd like some electric blankets. Sincerely, the cows. It was hard enough the cows had found the old typewriter in the barn. Now they wanted electric blankets? No way, said Farmer Brown. No electric blankets.
What's that?
So the cows went on strike. They left a note on the barn door. Sorry, we're closed. No milk today.
You're not gonna get
So I think Kai was right. I think the cows are new characters. Yeah, you agree, Fernando?
I agree too.
No milk today, cried Farmer Brown. In the background, he heard the cows busy at work. Click, clack, moo. Click, clack, moo. Clickety, clack, moo. The next day, he got another note. Dear Farmer Brown, the hens are cold too. They'd like electric blankets. Sincerely, the cows. Any new characters?
Yes. The chickens are the new character.
What did you say, Jesus?
The chickens are the new
The chickens are new characters. You're right. There they are. The cows were growing impatient with the farmer. They left a new note on the barn door. Closed. No milk. No eggs. No eggs, cried Farmer Brown. In the background, he heard them. Click, clack, moo. Click, clack, moo. Click, clack, moo. So far, can we review? We have Farmer Brown, we have the cows, and we have the chickens. Very good. Cows that type, hens on strike. Who ever heard of such a thing? How can I run a farm with no milk and no eggs? Farmer Brown was furious.
What does furious?
Furious means very angry. Farmer Brown got out his own typewriter. Dear cows and hens, there will be no electric blankets. You are cows and hens. I demand milk and eggs. Sincerely, Is he a new character or have we met him before?
We met him.
We've already met him.
There's a duck. There's a duck. A duck is a new character.
Duck is a new character. Duck was a neutral party, so he brought the ultimatum to the
Party?
cows.
I
It
think
means
he's a
he was.
baby.
It means he wasn't on either side. He was kind of in the middle. The cows. Excuse me. The cows. We have to keep reading to find out. The cows held an emergency meeting. All the animals gathered around the barn to snoop, but none of them could understand moo. All night long, Farmer Brown waited for an answer.
From the pig. Why?
Duck knocked on the door early the next morning. He handed Farmer Brown a note. Dear Farmer Brown, we will exchange our typewriter for electric blankets. They'll trade. They'll trade their typewriter for electric blankets. Leave them outside the barn door, and we will send Duck over with the typewriter. Sincerely, the cows. Farmer Brown decided this was a good deal. He left the blankets next to the barn door and waited for Duck to come with the typewriter.
Now the chickens are gonna want something.
The next morning, he got a note. Dear Farmer Brown, the pond is quite boring. We'd like a diving board. Sincerely, the duck. Click, clack, quack. Click, clack, quack. Clickety, clack, quack. Do you think they get a diving board? All right. So we did such a good job of talking about our characters. Can we list them really quickly on our board? Can I have a quiet hand for the first character that we met? Who remembers the very first character that we met?
Farmer Brown.
Quiet hand. Carlos.
Duck.
Duck was the very last character that we met, but I will write him up here. Duck.
Goose. That goose. Oh, I like that first one is
Who else did we meet?
Farmer Brown. Can we pick?
Jose.
Chicken.
We met some chickens. That's
No,
right.
hens. Hens. You can call
Chickens
them
and hens are the same thing. Hens are just female chickens.
chickens.
So I'm going to put hens in parentheses.
So chickens.
Larissa. Farmer Brown.
I came here. Why are you putting that in pattern here? Miss Dunn, why are you putting them in pattern?
So that we can see the differences.
And
And who remembers the last character? What
the
is it?
duck.
Not the duck. We already have the duck.
The cow.
Thank you, Richard. The cows.
Miss Dunn. But we saw pig and the horse and
We did see a pig and a horse, but these are the.
and a cat. Those were the main characters. We didn't see that cat.
Thank you. So I'm waiting for voices to be off. These are the main characters. These are all the characters who had parts that were main means they were really important characters. They did things that were really important. Okay. Now that we have our list of characters, we can use friends. I would like faces up here, Jose. And hands down. And friends on their bottoms. I'm waiting for you to be on your bottom. Your hair out of your mouth. All the way out. Thank you. Now, we can use our sentence frame. Let's see if this stays up. Who is a character in this story? Can someone raise a quiet? Can someone raise a quiet hand? Carlos, that's the second time. Can someone raise a quiet hand and use this sentence frame for me? Brian? I'm sorry, I can't hear Brian because other people are talking. So Farmer Brown.
Sorry.
Awesome. I would like you to turn to your partner on the rug
Me.
and use one of these characters in this sentence frame. You need a partner? Can you be with Fernando and Jose? So I'm going to wait for friends to turn, be on their bottoms, take their sweatshirts off their heads, not be touching each other. I'm waiting for Jose, I'm waiting for Yaretsi, I'm waiting for Helen and Ashley. On your bottom. Thank you. Could someone give me an example of a sentence that they just told their partner? Jose Luis?
He didn't tell his partner.
Sabrina? Very good. All right, now we are going to do our second one. So you're going to use, oh, I guess I should do it. You're going to use this second sentence frame to talk about the same character you talked about in your first sentence frame. And you're going to say, this character is interesting because. Can someone give me an example of why Farmer Brown is interesting? Christiana, can you give me an example of why Farmer Brown is interesting?
Because he's mad at the hens and the cows.
He's mad at all the animals. So you could say Farmer Brown is a character in this story. This character is interesting because he's mad at all the animals. Okay?
There's no space for the animals.
Well, it's really short, but it can really be as long as you want. Pretend that it's much longer. Okay, so please turn and talk to your partner, and this time use both sentence frames. Okay, let's be ready in 3, 2, 1. That means voices off, sitting on our bottoms. Yoretsu. Alright. Who would like to share an example of the sentence frame that they shared with their partner? Jasmine. Super loud and Interesting. Because. Why is Farmer Brown interesting? Because he's mad. Good. Does anyone else have one they want to share? Veronica. Ready? Which character did you choose? Farmer Brown. Okay. So let's try it together. Farmer Brown is a character in this story. This character is interesting because. Now we're going to hear why Veronica thinks he's interesting. I'm so sorry, Veronica. Hold on one moment. Friends, our voices need to be off. Our voices need to be off. Can you go back to your seat, please? Carlos. Go back to your seat. No, your seat at your table. Thank you. All right, Veronica, why is Farmer Brown interesting? Because he what the animals? Because he's mad at the animals. Very true. All right, friends. We were going to do a little bit more today, but we might have to do it later in our schedule, possibly after music.
What is this our schedule?
That is our schedule. So I'm looking for friends who are ready to line up.
Lunch? No.
Not
Not
really.
lunch. And after. What really? No.
So our friends in line are being such a good example of what our friends on the rug should look like.
Helen, pull up your hand.
So our friends in line are still being such a good example. Thank you, Catalina. Catalina. Come on, Carlos. Jasmine.